microphone. How we gonna ask questions?
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
We are going to go ahead and open up for public hearing to hear ordinances to amend the agreement for development of a joint county industrial park executed on April 24th, 1995 by and between Berkeley County, South Carolina and Williamsburg County, South Carolina, providing for the development of a jointly owned and operated industrial business park so as to include additional property in Berkeley County as part of the joint county industrial park and other matters related thereto. The second item open for public hearing is an ordinance authorizing the execution and delivery of a fee agreement by and between Williamsburg County, South Carolina and Project Good Earth, providing for a payment of a fee in lieu of tax and other matters related thereto. The third item is an ordinance authorizing the issuance and sales of not exceeding 2.5 million general obligation refund bond in one or more series in 1 or more years with appropriate series designation of Williamsburg County, South Carolina, which is also included Williamsburg County Fire District, fixing the form and details of the bond, delegating the county supervisor and chair of county council certain authorities related to the bond, providing for the payment of the bond and the disposition of the proceeds thereof and other matters related thereto. And the final item is an ordinance authorizing Williamsburg County, South Carolina to enter into one or more amendments or supplements to the base lease and conveyance agreements and the installment, purchase, and use agreement, each dated September 15th, 2010, between Williamsburg County and Williamsburg County Public Facility Corporation, to approve the form of term of one or more county public facilities, corporations, as well as and Wells Fargo Bank, N.A. as trustee in connection with the issuance of certain installment purchase refunding revenue bonds for Williamsburg County project, or more series with the appropriate series designation consenting to the issuance of such installment purchase refunding revenue bonds in the aggregated, principal amount of not exceeding 28.5 million, delegating the authority to the county supervisor and chair of county council to approve and determine certain matters and/or matters related thereto. Each person will have the opportunity to voice their concerns. Please direct all your concerns to myself, the chair of council, and you will have approximately 1 to 3 minutes to discuss your concern or ask questions regarding any of these public hearing items. The floor is open. Going once. Yes, ma'am. Please come to the podium, state your name for the record.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dolores Wilson. I would like you to explain all of these things, but I would like to know another thing. When are we gonna get these roads fixed in Williamsburg County? And when we gonna go get this trash out of this road?
So, ma'am, I thank you for your question, and I must say that we must stick to the agenda items, which are those listed in the public hearing.
I want to know, for number 3, what is the APR on that, and how long, and everything like that? What is that going to be going toward?
So right now, we are in negotiation. This is only to allow us the ability to do a refinance. We're looking at somewhere between 4.5%, but it could be better or could be worse, depending upon when we go ahead and enter into actually shopping for someone to purchase this for us, a bank.
Purchase what and where?
What do you
This
mean,
building right here?
No, ma'am. This is, number 3 is in reference to the fire district bond. What has happened is many years ago, the fire department took out a bond. Well, that bond has come due. At that point, we have the opportunity to refinance it at a lower interest rate, giving us the opportunity to have some additional funds that may become available as a result of us refinancing.
What area was this?
Fire department.
Huh?
Fire
Where at?
department.
All the fire department?
Entire Williamsburg County Fire Department, which consists of one and it's 22 stations, 23 stations.
And back to this $28,500, what is that going for and where and where?
Same thing. There's another bond that has come due for the county, and this is in the form of, what is it, the IPRB bond. So
Explain what, I beg your pardon?
it's the bond that was used to build all of the new facilities.
Okay. 'Cause
Stimulus.
I remember before, when I was here, I heard y'all talk about refinancing and refinancing.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Thank you
Thank you,
very
ma'am.
much.
Any other questions? Hearing none, we're gonna go ahead and close out the public hearing, and we're gonna call the regular meeting to order. Invocation, Mr. McKnight.
Glad to do so. Let us pray. Again, oh Heavenly Father Jesus, we bow at this hour to say thank you. We thank you, dear Father, for all the blessings that you have rendered to us. We thank you, dear Father, for allowing us to come out this afternoon to attend to the business that you have signed our hand to do. We ask, dear Father, that as we deliberate through this meeting, that we do what is best for the citizens of Williamsburg County. And Lord, we ask for a special blessing for each and every one that under the sound of my voice. And when we should leave this place, dear Father, we ask for safe travel back to our destination. This is the other blessing we ask in the precious name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. The next item for our agenda is the approval of the minutes for the regularly scheduled council meeting, which was held Monday, February 3rd, 2020. Yes, approval.
Let the motion be approved.
It has been properly motioned and second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor for approval of the minutes for Monday, February 3rd, 2020 meeting, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay. The ayes have it. The next ordinance that we have on the books is the third reading of ordinance 2019-13, an ordinance to amend the agreement for development of a joint county industrial park executed on April 24th, 1995 by and between Berkeley County, South Carolina and Williamsburg County, South Carolina, providing for the development of a jointly owned and operated industrial business park so as to include additional property in Berkeley County as part of the joint county industrial park and other matters related to.
Motion for third reading, Madam Supervisor.
Been properly motioned and second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor for approval of third reading of ordinance 2019-13, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, the same. The ayes have it, it's so ordered. Hang on, I'm missing a page. Third reading for ordinance 2020-01, an ordinance authorizing the issuance and sales of not exceeding 2.5 general obligation refund bond in one or more series in 1 or more years with appropriate series designation of Williamsburg County, South Carolina, Williamsburg County Fire District, fixing the form and details to the bond, delegating to the county supervisor and chair of county council certain authorities related to the bond, providing for the payment of the bond, and the disposition of the proceeds thereof and other matters related. Pleasure of council.
Make a motion we approve, have third reading.
Second.
Properly moved in second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of third reading of ordinance 2020-01, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, the same. The ayes have it, so ordered. Third reading of ordinance 2020-02, authorizing Williamsburg County, South Carolina to enter into one or more amendments or supplements to the base lease and conveyance agreement and the installment purchase and use agreement, each dated September 15, 2010, between Williamsburg County and Williamsburg County Public Facilities Corporation, to approve the form and term of one or more amendments or supplements to the trust agreement dated September 15th, 2010, between Williamsburg County Public Facilities Corporation and Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., as trustee, in connection with the issuance of certain installment purchase refund revenue bonds, Williamsburg County project, in one or more series, with the appropriate series designation consenting to the issuance of such installment purchases, refunding revenue bonds in aggregated, I don't know why I can't say that, principal amount of not exceeding $28.5 million, delegating the authority to the Williamsburg County Supervisor and Chair of County Council to approve and determine certain matters and others matters related thereto. Pleasure of council.
Motion for third reading, Madam Supervisor.
Second.
It's been properly motioned and second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of third reading of ordinance 2020-02, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposes the same. It is so ordered. We also have third reading of ordinance 2020-03, an ordinance authorizing the execution and delivery of a fee agreement by and between Williamsburg County, South Carolina, and Project Good Earth, providing for a payment of a fee in lieu of tax and other matters related thereto.
Madam Supervisor, Councilman McKnight and myself, due to our association with Santee Electric, will be conflicted out from voting on this matter, and we will be abstaining. We're under a court order from Justice Toll not to participate in businesses just as this nature. Okay?
This is true. So granted, two members are abstaining, the records show. With the remaining, we have enough for a vote. So I need
Motion.
the pleasure of council at this point.
Madam Supervisor,
Yes,
this
sir.
is dealing with, this is dealing with the 911.
No, sir.
No, ma'am. No, sir. This is probably good. I talked about it. Motion for third reading.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded, properly seconded. Any discussion?
Oh, okay.
Hearing none. All those in favor of third reading of ordinance 2020-03, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, the same.
Stand.
The ayes have it. Second reading of ordinance 2020-04, an ordinance providing for the policies and procedures for abandonment and closure of county-maintained public roads, easements, or right-of-ways to provide for the consent of 100% of the adjacent property owners abutting the road, and further providing that the property owner must sign an application for road closure, acknowledging their participation and their release and indemnification of the county from any duty to maintain the closed portion of the road. Pleasure of council.
Motion for second reading, Madam Supervisor.
Second.
Properly motioned and second. Any discussion? Hearing none,
I will have some marked up comments. I had several from council for that inspection by the next reading. It's just fine tuning. All this ordinance does, which we tend to do, is take what we've been doing in the past, make an ordinance out of it, so we have a process and procedure in writing. We will have that marked up and circulated.
okay, thank you. We'll call them. All those in favor of second reading of ordinance 2020-04, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, the same. The ayes have it. Nothing under first reading. We have our committee reports. Bid committee,
Yes, ma'am, Madam Supervisor, thank you. The bid committee met on, in fact, I was absent from that meeting, but the bid committee did meet on February the 5th at 9 a.m. And the purpose of that meeting was to receive bids to purchase rocks to go on these roads. And there were three types of rocks that they had bid come in for. The fine ones, the Durabeam, and the commercial 57. And we only had one bidder, and that bidder was Charleston Mills. And they submitted a bid of $8.50 per ton for each type of rock. And so the committee is going to recommend at this time that we go with Charleston Mills Services. They was the only bidder, and we do desperately need rocks to put on these roads. So that's the recommendation coming from the bid committee.
That's your motion?
That's a motion.
Second.
it's been properly motioned and second. Any other discussion? All those in favor of accepting the bid for Charleston Mills, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, the same. The ayes have it. It is so ordered. Finance Committee. Finance Committee met on
Yeah.
February 12th, and February 12th and January 30th. And pretty much one of the things that was discussed during that meeting was our franchise renewal agreement with Adams Lifelink Ambulance LLC. And we decided at this point that it warranted enough for us to forward it on to full council for vote to approve this franchise renewal agreement.
That's on the franchise.
So we're gonna go through all of them that we met on, but that's what you asked.
Just a particular one.
Just that only one. They have other action items that we need to take action on. But I was just going through one
I
of
don't see it. I don't see either, Sam.
The question was, is this the only one? And I explained to my vice chair that it's not, that I'm just taking them one by one, because there's action required for some of
I saw it
these.
here earlier. Okay, here we go. In the very backside.
At this time, we are in our regularly scheduled council meeting, so I can't take any questions from the audience.
Discussion, yeah. No, we said we were gonna approve this one, and that other issue we have, the 911 system, we said we were gonna discuss it.
Okay.
If any member of Finance Committee want to chime in and add some value.
Madam Supervisor, I was looking, Councilman Woods and I both were looking for the franchise agreement in our packages, but my understanding, it was a recommendation of council on this particular portion to recommend of the committee to recommend to council approval of this franchise agreement. Is that, was your
That's
understanding? You were
correct.
there?
That's correct.
Yes.
We were desperately looking for it in our packet so that we could, I don't see it. I'm sure it's in here, but it's a thick packet.
No, the franchise committee meeting is not there, is not in here, but our clerk can pull a copy of it. Very similar to the one that we've done
It's the
every year.
same one we've done in years past.
Yes, sir.
correct?
Yes,
Okay, so
sir.
it's no, any difference in anything,
No,
on the
sir.
same one we've always done,
Yes,
every
sir.
year. Okay.
Okay, I'd like to offer a motion that we go with that same
Renewal agreement?
agreement, and offer that in the form of a motion.
You got the second line?
Second.
Okay, is it properly motioned and seconded? Any discussion?
And you said this is the yearly agreement that we do with
Standard.
Adams?
Every year.
We have two different ones, yes. Any other questions?
Call the question.
Okay. All those in favor for the franchise renewal agreement with Adams Lifelink, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposers the same? The ayes have it. The next item for action was EMS came before us to request some write-offs be done. I did forward a request, I forwarded a request to our county attorney to get the stipulations regarding write-offs for future reference. And we are trying to run that down as far as how things are being written off. So these were the accounts that they requested, the account number and the amounts to be written off.
Go ahead, Sam.
Madam Supervisor, that was discussed at length, and it wasn't a tremendous amount. It was the recommendation of the county attorney that they be written off, and we made a motion. The committee voted to have those accounts written off, and also to put in a place some form of parameters for future references, which we're still working on, but at this point, we would just like to have those delinquent accounts written off at this time. So I'd make a motion that we do that at this time.
Second.
It's been properly motioned and second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor for the EMS write-offs listed in our finance report, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposers the same. The ayes have it. So ordered. The next item that came before the Finance Committee was for the equipment request for the Sheriff's Office Emergency Management 911 in the amount of $485,761, and this was for a new telephone system. And how this works is, pretty much, Sheriff, if you'd like to come up and speak to this. At the podium.
The phone system that we currently have at EMD is outdated. One of the requirements of the FCC is that we, and that was back in 2005, is that we update our technology so that it tells us where the call is originating from. I think one of the conversations we had about need and want. This is a need and a requirement. One of the important things of it is this. If someone calls, we're able to identify what's the numerics that this call originated from. So take a domestic call. So we may not be able to clearly understand what someone's saying to us, but we've got a location. And so in the alternative, let's say we go back in time. So now we're doing the phone and writing. We don't necessarily have the workforce to sustain being able to do that in the call for service comparison of the call for service volume that's at the 911 facility at this time. So in order for us to have a system that we can do things and respond appropriately and address the call volume that we currently have, we have to stay up to date. The current system we do have, it's out of date. Frontier is our phone service provider. They will not enter a service agreement with us with the current system that we have. So if something happens to it, we have to find parts for it to be repaired. That means that now we go back to our hourly rate of being charged for that repair service. So you know what that means, right? It's gonna take a while. I mean, they ain't gonna get in a rush because they get paid by the what? By the hour. They ain't on a contract. So I think it just serves us good to go ahead and update our stuff because we're gonna find ourselves where we have problems with the system that we have, and it's a need. It's something that we need to have. So did you all want me to speak about this cost? Or did you want Ms. Liz to speak about that? How did you want me to?
We can get it together. Basically what'll happen is with this particular system is they are allowed to get up to an 80% reimbursement back from the state. And from that point, we are able to pay back. So how we're gonna start the financing piece is that we do have money that is set aside in another fund that we can use for now to pay this off, so we do not have to finance any of this. We are gonna save ourselves a little over $56,000 over a 5-year period. That will allow us to take that savings and put it towards the balance of this, causing or creating no budgetary impact to our existing budget. So it would be paid off. We would not have to finance it. We can just pay it outright, receive our 80% back, put it back in our other fund, and we will be just fine as far as our dealing with the rest of this. So there's no budgetary impact.
Madam Supervisor, the
Yes.
total system costs how much?
$485,761.
And we get, how much is our part of it?
80% is what we get back for reimbursement, and then it leaves a rough balance of 97,000. Believe so, Liz, roughly around it, 20%.
And so, again, you're saying we would pay the 20%, we would have to pay the entire thing, and we get reimbursed back 80% of that 400.
And I do think, Mr. Wilson, this 80% reimbursement is time sensitive. I believe so. We need to, if we're gonna act on it, we need to, this is something that you heard the sheriff say, it's not a want, it's a need. And this 80% is time sensitive, so if we're gonna do it, and it's something we need for the citizens, we might need to do it as expediently as we possibly can.
Yes, because right now, it can easily, it's on debate to take this down to no longer an 80% approval. It has the potential to go down to 70. So that would cost us more money in the long run. So right now, the reimbursements are at 80% for specific equipment. And the rest of the money, Williamsburg County 911 will be able to pay for the balance of the $97,152.20.
Madam Supervisor, did I hear the word requirement?
Yes.
Okay. And also, did I hear the word that no budgetary impact?
None.
That's what
Thank
as long as we don't have a budgetary impact and we've got a way of paying for it, I don't see no
Not
problem
gonna
with it.
impact our budget.
And then we save the interest cost of $56,000.
That's right.
So when you need
So-
approval of that,
Today. So what is the pleasure of council?
okay?
I'd like to offer a motion that we approve that, Madam Supervisor.
Second.
Has been properly moved in second. All those in favor of approval of us purchasing the Vesta phone system with a 5-year maintenance plan, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, the same. The ayes have it. It's so ordered. The next item is an action item in which I'm gonna put aside until they do the presentation, the appearance. But we'll get more into this. This is just simply not an action item. It's just simply information. And then next meeting, we will, and we hash out our concerns, and we will present it before the body for action. The third, yes?
Excuse me, Madam Supervisor. Let me ask a question. I started to do it when we were talking about the rocks and the bids, but I want to do it before we get too far along. Mr. Jenkinson, do we have an ordinance? I know we discussed it in the past. These logging companies and these telephone, cable, fiber optics line tearing up the roads, and they're not repairing them back in the condition they were in, and we are having to go back behind them and try to fix these roads. Do we have an ordinance that addresses that or not?
I do not think so, just off the top of my head, I'd have to check a little bit further.
Okay, I know we discussed it.
discuss it.
Yeah, we
No, we
discussed it
don't.
at length. We need to try to draw up something because in my area, several roads, the people can't get in because the most recently, I think the Farmers Telephone Company or somebody put in fiber optics line, which is a good thing, but we don't wanna, fix it where the people can't get to their homes. And that's what's happening. So we may need to try to consider drawing up an ordinance or something to that effect. I know we have gone to some of them and asked them to fix the roads, and they have been doing that, but I don't know if we have an ordinance to that effect.
As long as they're public roads,
They're public roads.
do that on private roads.
No, they're public roads.
Public road.
Yeah. I won't even bring up a public road.
Private. You won't bring up a private
Yeah,
road.
but a private road. No, no.
So that's something that you and I can get together with.
Agree with that totally.
Yeah.
All right. So at the request of council, I will get with Mr. Jenkinson and we'll figure out something to draft up. The next item is the proposed budget and the finance calendar. Now, last year, we did the budget a little bit different, where we had all members of council were invited to take part in the budgetary process. However, this year, at request of some council members, that they requested that we go back to the way we've done it and bring the budget first to the finance committee and recommendations at that point be made to general council. So we have issued a calendar. They have it up here? Yeah, okay. The calendar is in your packet as to how the budget is going to, the progression of the budget is going to go throughout the time in which, for all the way up to approval. So if you all take a quick look at that, we just need approval of the proposed budget and finance calendar. Pleasure of council,
In front, yeah, you fine?
towards the back, towards the back.
If you're looking for it, it's near the very back of your package. And it's basically, it's a list of dates of the finance committee meetings and deadlines. And of course, every member of council is encouraged to attend, but not required, just the finance committee. So,
Budget meeting schedule. Is it this right here?
Yeah, that's it. Yes, sir.
make a motion that we approve the fiscal budget calendar dates fiscal year 2020 2020 and 2021.
And we need a second.
Second.
It's been motion and second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor for approving the proposed budget and finance calendar, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposers, the same. The ayes have it, so ordered. Some other discussion items that we had is discussion on some of the lease agreements that need to be renewed. Those are some of the things that we will have to get together for council. Again, we will have that available for you prior to the next council meeting for you all to look it over. And also the discussion of a referendum for the sales of buying and sale of alcohol in Williamsburg County. We are just waiting on our final paperwork from the county attorney. So that is the end of the Finance Committee report. All right, next item of business is old business. Ms. Janet Hicks, CPA, delivery of the written forensic report of Williamsburg County Transit Authority. Ms. Hicks, yes.
I have delivered to each of you a copy of my written formal report outlining the issues that were brought to your attention in my oral report about 30 days ago. There is a formal report and 7 exhibits that go with it. I will leave those reports with you and will be at the pleasure of council of meeting, discussing anything in particular. I think you need to take time to read through it. It's probably not something we want to take up time tonight, each of you reading through it. It's a thick report. So take your time. That's it. Yes. Each one should have one. It's in a binder. Does everyone have one? Okay. And at the pleasure of council, I'll meet with you to discuss any specifics.
Very good, thank you. Under the supervisor's report, I'm gonna ask Ms. Martha Burrows to come up and talk a little bit about some of the initiatives that the various groups are trying to get together, come together to help with litter control issues.
Hello, everyone. I'm Martha Burrows, and I am the Keep Williamsburg Beautiful affiliate chairperson. Keep Williamsburg Beautiful through Keep America Beautiful was organized in February of 2002. Palmetto Pride of South Carolina supports all participating counties with this initiative and offers grant funds to aid in the process. This year, Keep Williamsburg Beautiful applied for $10,000 and was granted $9,000 to collect, educate, enforce, and promote cleanup in the county. The budget this year includes plans to upkeep container gardens around the county, school garden project, Earth Day, cleanup food celebration, travel pay for members to clean up and maintain greenery, seasonal beautification around the county, and a video for promoting the organization and its efforts. In 2019, Keep Williamsburg Beautiful had 3,120 volunteer hours, and the value of that time comes to $79,341.60 saved in the cleanup efforts. 13 events were held throughout the county, and around 12,925 pounds of litter were collected. Keep Williamsburg Beautiful challenges each councilman to a competition of the cleanest district, and that will begin March the 1st through May the 31st. The winner will be decided by the committee and presented with a plaque by the end of June. Each year, this plaque can be rotated in an effort to encourage cleanliness throughout our county. Since my councilman is Sam Floyd, I'm obviously pulling for our district to win, and may the best councilman win.
Thank you.
Ms. Martha, I don't have a council district, so am I in this? Thank you. Our next is an appearance from Williamsburg in reference to the Williamsburg County Community Buildings. I have Chief Dorsey, Chief Moore, and Director Rouse to come before us. This is a project that was started around last budgetary season, where we were trying to get a hold of making sure and ensuring that our citizens, that the community buildings were being kept up, as well as making sure that we have accountability for the funding received for the rentals of the facilities. So a few weeks ago, we hosted a building committee meeting for all of the buildings around the county that actually had people assigned to work those facilities, and we explained the process to them going forward as to how we would begin to ensure that we properly documented the monies that came into the county for building rentals, as well as what their responsibility is for this. So I'm going to have them step up to the podium at this time.
Good evening again. The meeting was held on January 31st by the supervisor, which was here, and all of the community individuals that had a building met here. And from that meeting, we went out to the various communities to get feedbacks from each area one-on-one with their concerns in regards to how they were operating the buildings at that time.
What we found is we have three community buildings that the county actually scheduled and we received the rental costs for. The other buildings, they received the rental costs for them, and they used some of the income for paying them for maintaining the buildings, opening for an event, closing for an event, the cleanup after the event, and for some of the repairs. What we were trying to do is we looked at the square footage of all the community buildings. All the community buildings except for two, which is Battery Park and Neesmith, they have about the same footage, but three of the buildings that we keep the scheduling and rentals for, the citizens pay $200 for the rentals. The other buildings, they're paying like $50 or $75 or $25 for a rental, but all the buildings have about the same square footage. After looking at that, we stated that if we go ahead and put a rental fee of $200 for all the buildings, because they're about the same size, and each renter is paying $50 deposit, they will get the $50 deposit if there's no incidental, and $50 fee go to the community member that's opening, closing, and cleaning the building as a $50 stipends, and the county will get what's left of the rental amount. This way, the community, they're holding the keys to the building and they're keeping up with the rentals. We're just scheduling the rentals, but they're keeping tabs on the people coming in, going out, and cleaning the building. What you all have before you is a copy of the new rental agreement that we put in place, along with the price rate for the rentals.
So what we basically wanted to do is keep everything the same language. Bringing everything under one umbrella would allow us to keep track of the funds that are being rented to those who are paying, as well as allow us to get their stipends out to the individuals who are the key holders in that community. So it allows us then at that time to know which line item that is going to go in. So pretty much what we're trying to set up is that for a particular building, you will have that rental fee put into that line item. This helps us when it comes time for us to do some type of modifications to the building. We got to take pride in our buildings and make sure that when it's time for us to rent them out, they look good, because people will rent more. And by us having control of that under one umbrella, the citizens understand that there's one language. And when we're actually issuing out those buildings, and we know that what those buildings need, whether it's supplies for maintenance, whether it's the cleaning supplies, whether if the buildings needs painting, we would be able to identify with that. In past years, it was hard for us to do that because we didn't know what was what. But again, though, we're not taking anything away. We want to make sure that they keep it. We want to make sure the key holders still keep that building,
but we want to make sure that we control and track those things that's necessary so that we won't get ourselves put into a bind. That's anything else? So,
Right, and the one thing is, community meetings, they would still be able to have them at a no cost to the county. And what we also found in going out to these areas, a lot of them have been having activities, so to speak, bingo, cards, whatever. So what we talked about was allowing each area on the first and third Tuesday of each month, these communities are able to still have something that kind of considered their own. So whether they want to play bingo, you all want to have whatever, on the first and third Tuesday of each month at any facility, if you pass by, they should be very much kind of started doing recreational activities.
My concern is you're availing this to the community, to the citizens. How would you ascertain as to whether they're having an event that they should be paying for, and they may tell you, we want to schedule a card playing game on the first Tuesday, but in essence, they may have a reception, or I'm just being hypothetical.
So what
How do you know what they're?
So again, on the first and third Tuesday, so with it being rented in one central location, Ms. Clarissa will already know that on the first and third Tuesday, typically that's a recreational day on the first and third Tuesday. So any other day, very much they can rent that facility. And by all means, if it's something of nature from you all or the supervisor that we have to have something on that first and third Tuesday, then very much we would contact that community member and let them know it's something of priority on that first Tuesday, then, you know, it's back in the hands of county.
Okay, and the person that's open and closed will be also responsible for doing the janitorial, you said, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Any other questions for them? Again, we'll be bringing this back before you next meeting to approve the price listing or the price increase and review of the application, because this application may be slightly different. It's been revised, so for us to make sure that we can keep track of things. And also, we also have to understand that when we're able to pay these folks to do this, we're actually tracking the expenses, and we can give them a 1099 so that when it's time to file taxes, that they can be accounted for. We don't want to get into any federal regulation issues regarding us not being able to put proper taxes on things. So any other questions while they're here? Hearing none, thank you.
Thank you all very much. This was long overdue.
All right, next order of business is adjournment. Need a motion? Oh. Go over there.
The mic, I forgot.
I just like to remind everyone of our Founders Day celebration, which will be taking place this Sunday, 4 o'clock at the Recreation Center. Everyone is invited. This is an event sponsored by the Williamsburg Historical Society. It's free. It will start with refreshments, but more importantly, this is our first Founders Day celebration, and the founders of Williamsburg County that we will celebrate on this occasion are the slaves who worked so hard to build Williamsburg County. Our presenter at that event will be Joseph McGill. Mr. McGill is a nationally recognized expert on the subject of slavery, and he grew up right here in Kingstree, finished Kingstree High School, and is one of us. And he will be our presenter. He has been nationally recognized as with his slave dwelling project. He is changing the narrative about slavery across America, and this will be a fascinating program. We would ask you to come on this special occasion, Sunday afternoon, County Rec, from 4 until 6. It is free.
Ms. Hicks,
Excuse me. And on that note, the exhibit in the lobby for Black History Month is presented by Ms. Cassandra Rush Gallery, so please take a minute to look at it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hicks.
My apologies for not mentioning this before. In Exhibit 6, there's a reference to license plates. We have a box here on the front table that contains over 100 license plate. I'm placing that in the security of the county supervisor to handle.
Thank you. Adjournment.
So move.
It's probably moved and second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of adjournment, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposers, the same. The ayes have it, so ordered. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Yo, all right, good. Yes, sir.